I'm spending a few days in this beautiful part of Britain. Then next week, I'll be back in London. I live in London, but I'd like to live here. If I lived here, I'd feel healthier. On the other hand, this is a long way from London. If I lived here, I wouldn't see my friends very often.
My real present situation is this. I live in London, but I'd like to live here. But I'm thinking about an imaginary situation. If I lived here, I'd feel healthier. I'd is short for I would. Lived is the past tense with present meaning. I'm thinking about the general present, but the past tense shows that the situation isn't real. It's imaginary. We call this pattern the second conditional. Here's an example with negative forms. If I didn't live in London, I wouldn't see my friends very often. Again, the conditional clause has if and the past. The result clause has would or wouldn't before the verb. We often use this pattern to ask for advice. What would you do if you were me? And we use the phrase, if I were you, to give advice. If I were you, I'd stay in London. We can also use this pattern for the future. Will you stay here until Monday? No. If I stayed until Monday, I'd be late for work. The second conditional shows that the idea is unreal, imaginary, or unlikely. That's why we use the past tense, even though we're talking about the future.